Welcome to the inaugural podcast of Business Networking. And I have the absolute pleasure of hosting Mr. Suresh Menon, who is the Director and CEO of ValueAdditions Sales and Marketing Private Limited. Suresh is going to talk about a very interesting concept called strategic account management, and especially how it can be used for business owners. So, just to give you a little introduction about our guest today, Suresh leads this company, which is a unique B2B sales augmentation company, where the focus is on creating predictable sales growth. Predictable sales growth, as you can imagine, is something that all of us are looking for today in what we call as an uncertain world. He specializes in the sales portfolio transitions across sales functions, building sales processes and sales manuals and sales mentoring to business owners and teams as part of integral part of templated processes. He handles lead generation and database research for select organizations. He's been deriving the science in the art of sales. His company is about 12 years old, based out of Mumbai, and also facilitate customers routine remotely. He has customers in India, Dubai, Singapore, and the US, and is an integral part of the board advisory as sales board advisor to several business owners from micro to medium enterprises, and is instrumental in creating sales growth assessment reports that enables clarity in enabling metrics and easing bottlenecks. A flagship entry-level program that Suresh conducts is called ESP Exponential Playbook for solopreneurs and MSMEs. Suresh is also the area director for Mumbai in BNI in the West 1 region of Mumbai. He is a co-founder of a network called Genius Entrepreneur Network, and is also incidentally the incoming secretary of Rotary Club of Devnar in District 3141 of Rotary, and is a constituent of the Directors Institute, and is a non-executive independent director of a company called Enterprise Business Technologies. Welcome, Suresh. It's a pleasure having you in the inaugural podcast in this business networking series.
Thank you very much, Vipul. When I heard what you had to say, and let me strategically get my pods right. So when I speak of strategy, I was thinking how much jargonical it was when you read out the introduction, and it's all thanks to me, not because of you, because of me. And then I realized that sales, which is supposed to be such an easy going function, which is like the birthright of every human being and every birthright of entrepreneurs for sure, how much jargonical it has become because of this complex world, the VUCA world. And thereby, to add to the jargon is the strategic account management on one side, but on the other side of this jargon is simple common sense, which has to have a method in the madness, in a matter of speak. So that's what I could say. And thank you very much, Vipul, for this fantastic opportunity to reach out to fellow entrepreneurs, to fellow sales guys. Like they say, the best and the most spiritual of them all are the sales guys, because they absorb human reaction in so many different ways. I don't think anybody can get more spiritual than a sales guy. That's like really evangelizing the cause of salesmanship.
Awesome.
Over to you, Vipul. Thank you.
So one of the things, Suresh, I have realized over a period of time having interacted with you is how you make very difficult concepts easy to understand. And when we first spoke of strategic account management, it came across to me as something very, very complicated. But when I spoke to you about it a little bit in order to prepare for this one, I realized, it's actually quite simple. Who better than you yourself to explain what is strategic account management? Because when I put out this message that I'm going to talk to you, there was a lot of interest in these three words taken together called strategic account management. So can you make it simpler for common people like me to understand what strategic account management is all about?
Thank you, Vipul. So before I get there, and thank you for the very focused, pertinent question, let me add to the trend of jargonizing it more by saying that there is CAM, key account management, there is MAM, major account management, and there is so many other AMs. But let me come to SAM, the strategic account management, right? That's the lingo used by salespersons across the uh, LAM world. When I say LAM, it means large account management. So, so much for the AMs and the LAMs and the CAMs and the MAMs. But coming to strategic account management, uh, as when sales evolved, it was earlier considered to be pulling a fast one. Like wink and say, "मैंने बेच दिया," right? काम हो गया. But then it matured into become a very serious function, a function on which organizations and countries started depending on, because that was straight away adding to the revenue and the profitability which came in, and then sales became more and more structured. And then companies like Xerox, for example, which had the opportunity of being with a sister concern of Xerox called Olivetti, and in my journey, wherein concepts, whether it's the IBM or whether it's the Xerox or whether it's Olivetti or whether it's the Pepsis and the Cokes of the world, it happened that the entire concept of handling large accounts effectively became order of the day. And that's how strategic account management came into being, which means if it's a large customer or a large prospective customer whom you sell to, one has to make sure that you're selling to various buy points. Like when I go into a large organization, I would find not one, not two, but infinite sales buying points, purchase points,
Right.
influencing points, and so on and so forth. That's how strategic account management came into view. How can you keep a particular account, which is again a jargon, in other words, a particular customer, be my customer for all times to come, not only in
Right.
terms of revenues and more orders, but also in terms of reaching out to me whenever there are variations in my product or my service. For example, if I'm selling a product A and tomorrow a variant comes, though the customer I'm servicing for the next 5 years, a variant comes, the client or the customer, by the way, client and customer both are different in connotation. I will come to that later at some other point of time. But let me use the word customer right now in the context of this conversation. Can I have the customer come up to me and say, "Hey, there's a variant coming of your product. Could you offer that to me?" That means you really handle the account very well and in a strategic manner. That in the changing VUCA world, the client still comes back to you and gives you the first advantage of quoting or proposing that particular variant. So strategic account management is quite insightful and deep, and one has to have a longish. There are training programs from strategic account management, which is like a 2-day, full day training program, hands-on and theory. That's the kind of effect of only one strategic account management concept. But today in the SMEs today, in the micro, small and medium organizations, or solopreneurs for that matter, largely in the B2B space,
Right.
it's understood that strategic account management need not be only in place when I have large accounts to handle. It can be in place when I have associations to handle, when I
Right.
have to handle a startup organization, or whether I handle somebody else in multiple ways. So, strategic account management, in a simple word or terminology, means sell high, sell wide, sell to the right, sell to the left. For example, a simple concept is we cannot probably influence our senior management things, but what I can influence as a salesperson, whether I'm the owner of a company or whether I'm an employee of a company, selling my wares, selling my services or my products, I can influence the person or the buy point on my right, buy point on my left. For example, if I get into a research organization,
Right.
the purchase manager is one buy point, the researcher or the scientist is another buy point, and then there will be interns who can be the third buy point, and there is accounts department which could be a fourth buy point. So if I can influence these different buy points, selling high and wide or selling across left and right, chances are sooner than later I will be able to influence the top management also to give a nod in case there is some resistance. So selling high and wide compulsively using an account map. I need to have a map of a large account, map of my customer, map of my prospect in terms of the hierarchy, designations, and have that very clearly crystallized before I do the selling is an essential component of strategic account management.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Suresh. I think you've given us a fairly good idea of what it means. Selling high and wide, I think, are the two key words here. One question that comes to mind, therefore, is uh, does it depend on the size of the customer, or does it depend on the nature of the buying patterns of the customer?
Yeah. So to answer the question very in a binary manner, it means the buying patterns.
Buying pattern.
For example, there could be a large customer who might not be a big buyer of my product and service. There could be a small customer in terms of turnover or size, but they might buy repeatedly from me. There would be customers who are intermediaries who might be the gateway for me to reach out to larger markets, larger audiences. For example, I could have a merchandiser as a customer who would offer my products if I'm in the garment line to multiple large retail outlets across the world. So their buying will be like a channel. So whether I'm selling it to an intermediary or to an end user, the buying patterns and the buying frequency would more often than not determine the concept of an account wherein strategic account management applies. For
Right.
example, there is Boeing, but they buy only once a month a particular product of mine, which is very niche, which is very focused, which is something that only I produce. Then chances of a strategic account management being applied in a large manner may not be required. But there is obviously required there because I have to be strategically connected to an organization to always be ahead of competition. One important thing lurking around in today's world is competition. Doesn't mean another competitor. It could mean a competing or a revolutionizing or a disrupting thought process or
Right.
a mind game. For example, somebody's using plastics, decides we will only use earthenware. Okay,
Right.
means there is competition already come, even though my product is cheapest and best, but the organization decides to move from a particular formula to another formula. So there will be so many competitions. So strategic account management as a concept is a very important ingredient in sales pedigree and sales process to keep abreast and ahead of competing trends.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So, one question which I had as a follow up to this is, you know, if we take, let's say, a company wants to introduce strategic account management in their day-to-day operations, where does the responsibility or the function lie? Does it lie with the business owner, or can he delegate it to, let's say, somebody in his senior team? In your experience, what do you think is, where should that process lie, or who
Right.
should be the
So,
process owner, if I may use a different way of
right.
asking that question?
Right. So I would give you three different scenarios. There is a solopreneur, which is the entrepreneur who is also selling, has got 80% of the business coming from, say, 20% of their customers. It's very important for that solopreneur to apply strategic account management to ensure that there's no disruption in the 80% revenue coming from 20% of their clients or those clients or customers with whom they're focusing on. If you come to a medium or a large organization, the responsibility of ingraining strategic account management in the process of sales in the organizations becomes very important. For example, a large pharma company will take a call at a regional level or at a national level. The strategic account management would mean the following steps, following 10, 20, 30 steps and patterns and frequencies and reportings and measurements and finding out the success rate. So all of those metrics. But the implementation has to be done across the different levels. For
Right.
example, if selling is a process, which of course it is, creating a lead and nurturing the lead into a prospect can be done by somebody who's a front trooper in the sales army, in the sales battalion. But focusing on giving functionality and advantages and benefits over features can be done by somebody who is a technically oriented person in the sales hierarchy. May not be a technical person, maybe a service person who's got into selling team to articulate the functionality of a particular product or service. Then comes the sales support of really guaranteeing the kind of quality and service and all of that, wherein somebody in the middle management or the higher management might be required in the sales hierarchy to put across a call or ask for a meeting to give a comfort factor to the prospective buyer, prospective customer. So in a nutshell, the decision of strategic account management is taken at the highest level of an organization, whether the highest level of an organization or highest level of the sales organization or the actual organization. But the implementation is kind of disseminated through the various ranks and files and done in a rhythmic, harmonious fashion.
So, Suresh, we have a question here from Alia on the community. She
Right.
says, beyond traditional methods, what innovative approaches to strategic account management are driving predictable growth today?
So essentially, traditions or traditional selling in the B2B space typically means always an element of human interaction. Whether I'm selling an airplane or a hairpin, there is a B2B in the B2B landscape. There is a one-to-one or a human interaction. Even if it's in a tender business, the repeat business in tenders, so it might look like it is done by a particular configuration or algorithm, but there is a human interface required, whether it's sales, pre-sales, after sales, which also becomes an opportunity for causing more and repetitive sales. So any traditional outreach would mean human interaction. Now, in the human interaction, innovations can come in, newer innovations. For example, at some point of time, there was this adage which says a picture is equal to 1,000 words. Instead of me saying 1,000 words, if I show a picture of my product being endorsed by a particular company, my buying or my buyer or prospect would feel very good about the picture. Today, it's about showing LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram reels or testimonials or recommendations or testimonials from various other customers who actually vouch for what you have sold for, and so on and so forth. This could be a WhatsApp message, it could be a corporate film which is made, it could be an e-testimonial or an e-brochure, or it could be something today when somebody is using chatbot, wherein automatically in the process of follow-up, a certain messaging goes for a lead which has become a prospect and a prospect becoming a qualified prospect. So in each step from lead to prospect or prospect to qualified prospect, in strategic account management, if there were 4 or 5 iterative interactions, a human connect, backed up by different technology-based connections, whether it's chatbot-based or a messaging through bot, whether it is an e-film, whether it is an e-brochure, whether it's a link to a social media handle, all of that has to come in handy to make sure that the person on the other side has got right and adequate information to be able to take a proactive judgment and should not also feel inundated or flooded with too much of information. Because it's important to keep the information right. And that's the challenge in strategic account management nowadays. How much is right? Because one step ahead would mean overselling, one step you're not confident about your product. And that's why you're being, or you're disinterested about the account. That's why you're not moving forward. So it's important to make sure that we're having the right kind of traditional plus innovation trending together. Like this in discussion Vipul was happening, say 6 months ago, I would not have thought of bot. Yeah, maybe bot was there, but it was not very used. Now, since we are talking today, bot is coming to the picture. Maybe 4 years ago, I would not have used social media handles as much in B2B space. True. So I think it's evolving, and that's where the blend is very important to make it well, because your buyer is there where you're selling to. If my buyer or my buying point is in Facebook and I do communication in LinkedIn, I'm having non-alignment.
Right.
So I need to ensure where the buyer is coming from, whether he's a buyer professionally or otherwise, the persona remains same. So if I'm the purchase manager of a large organization, but I'm active in Facebook for some reason, then I need to see my supplier's products or some kind of testimonial on Facebook, because I may take a decision based on what I see and not decide on what I do not see. So it becomes engaging to really make the account map very clearly, which should also show in account maps when you make a map which social handle the buying points are active in. For example, somebody might be active only in seminars or in some exhibitions and so on and so forth. So that's how it comes across.
Fantastic. We have 2 or 3 very, very interesting questions which have come up, Suresh. So I'll ask them in the order that they've come. One is very closely linked to some of the technology tools that you just spoke about. So I'll take that first. This question has been asked by Sham Mukund. He asks, what is the role that data analytics can play in strategic account management for optimizing sales and profitability?
Fantastic question, Sham. Data analytics has been there in the strategic account management, like When Vipul said 30 years or 3 decades in sales as a profession, I realized how much of a dinosaur I've become. And thank you, Vipul, for making that sorrowful statement for me. But whether it's the dinosaur age of 30 years ago in the late 80s or like early 90s or today, analytics has always been so important. Human analytics and data analytics. One thing that remains always that business is numbers and data and all of that innovation, but business largely remains human centric. Business always remains human centric even today. So if you look at human centricness today and you focus on analytics, analytics has always been there. Maybe at that time, analytics in terms of understanding data concepts were used to happen on paper. Today, it's happening electronically, it happens on Excel or on business analytics sheets. Today, large organizations in the sales and marketing function, when they use large ERPs, whether it's an SAP or a Microsoft Dynamics Business Central, or whether it is any of the other softwares, one important aspect they look at is reporting today is a thing of the past. What is in is business analytics,
Right.
and business intelligence. So earlier, they were days, just to give an example of how analytics has become important. Earlier days, decisions on buying an ERP software or a CRM software for sales management, marketing management is to happen looking at the features of the products. Today, decision is taken based on the intelligence that it gives. I might have a great product, but with great reporting, but not culling that reporting into BI,
Right.
then I might not have a great product because everything happens on intelligence at the fingertip. So analytics is extremely crucial. Using a normal Excel or a CRM or a branded software is very important to understand the analytics which comes into play. Now, when I say analytics, one thing is very important. Analytics, though there will be so many columns and rows, and in the interest of time, I'm making it simpler. Any analytics which show that it is going to be focusing on the quantum of buying that happens by the account, by the prospective customer, the frequency, the repeatability, and what is their share of buying from me vis-a-vis my competitor. Large accounts usually spread their buying across multiple vendors in the same space.
Right.
They may not be loyal to only one vendor. So one
That's
of the
right.
aspects I need to play as a strategy account manager is to get market share, get mind share, get a cap, a particular pie from the large share that is going to be going to multiple competitors. So analytics in terms of gathering data is so important. And believe it or not, what sales started off one day as being selling, sales started as selling, is now become more of listening, because
Right.
analytics and the reporting that I put in from a sales reporting point of view, what I put in into my CRM at the end of a particular meeting is more about what I listened, what I understood in that particular interaction. And those listening and understanding goes into making analytics and dimensions, which enables me to make the analytics even more better. When I say listening, I mean it could be a trend, it could be a change, it could be a profitability issue of the company not doing too well, which means my sales is going to drop next quarter or next 6 months or next year. Okay, there are very important aspects. I will invest a lot of time and energy and selling, because in sales today it's not about selling, it's also to know much earlier when not to sell more and use that energy to sell somewhere else. I cannot go all in into a particular account. It might be a great account for me, a great customer for me last year, but this year there's a profitability issue. They might only buy 50% from me. Doesn't make sense for me to put my energy all there. I need to then channelize my energy because somewhere else, some other opportunity is being lost. So analytics is not only about selling more, it's also about selling rightly. When to withdraw, when to put the attention elsewhere. All of these things make for analytics gathering and understanding and analyzing. Sorry for being so elaborate.
Thank you,
Vipul.
Suresh. One request which has come from the backend team is that you need to move slightly behind, maybe a
Okay.
couple of inches behind, so that
Is it
you're
fine?
visible. Yeah, this is better.
Sure.
Uh,
Thank you.
so a linked question to this is asked by Shantanu. He asks, how do you measure the success and ROI of strategic account management initiatives?
Simply by one thing, kitna danda aaya? A business going up or not going up? Point one. Second thing is, how well are you negotiating? It's an offset hiccup for a salesperson that every year a customer says, I will not give you the increment that you're looking for. Suppose I'm selling service contracts. Suppose every time I ask for a 10% hike every year, and my client is going to say, I'm not going to give you. I'm talking of strategic account management for selling more to customers who buy repeatedly from me, as one example.
Right.
So the important aspect is I can actually reduce the price and improve profitability. For example, there is some cost which I'm having right now, which I'm bearing. I can say I can transfer that cost, whether it's an air conditioner, whether it's a person to support the service contract. I can transfer that cost to my customer, saying, "Hey, customer, you already have a person who's sitting idle in your office. Can he or she help me in the service contract for preventive maintenance? And you know what? I will do one thing. I will reduce my price by 20%, but my profitability internally is going up."
Right.
Yeah. And it's a win-win for both sides.
Win-win for both
So
sides. Yeah.
both sides. So it's important to understand one thing, that only measurability is profitability. Selling more and looking at top line is not a good answer to judge sales effectiveness. Measuring bottom line, even if at reduced prices, doing some intelligent win-win kind of selling is a true measure of strategic account management. Because when you do strategic account management, you actually come on the side of the customer while you're on the side of your organization also. It's a win-win on both sides. If it's not strategic account management, then you always think of customer as somebody being on the other side of the table, and what can I get and derive out of that would be my thinking in my subconscious. So if you do this, it's a very healthy, conducive coming together in partnership of buyer and seller.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Suresh. See, I had a few questions noted down when I started this interaction, but as the questions are coming up on the community, I realized that some of the questions have got intermingled with the questions that are asked. So I'll ask a question which has come on the group by Mariam. Her question is how to balance the need for consistency in sales processes with the flexibility required to adapt to changing market dynamics.
Thank you, Mariam, for a wonderful question. The one-line answer which comes to my mind is to be focused on quantity, consistency, quality, repeatability, breakthroughs. Having a healthy funnel comes from only one thing: having as many quantity of prospects in your sales funnel. In our exponential sales playbook, the ESP program which Vipul spoke about, and thank you, Vipul, for mentioning that, we speak about the sales funnel being an orchard. In an orchard, I need to have a twig, I need to have a grass growing. I need to also have a mango tree. I also need to have flowering plants. I also need to have non-flowering plants. And that orchard gives me the wonderful feeling when I actually take the right mango and start biting it off my teeth. If the mango tree was by itself alone, I might still enjoy the mango fruit, but it will not have that kind of flair as plucking from my orchard, which has got so many different varieties of herbs and plants and all of that. What I'm relating to is the fact that as we look at consistency to happen in sales, quantity is important. Continuously spending every single day to improve and get more and more prospects into my funnel is so important. If I have an orchard, I know that the mango tree or the fruit-bearing tree is my target segment. The grass and the twigs are not. But if I go to the grass and the twigs and the non-flowering plants, only then will I be able to reach a flowering plant or a fruit plant or a fruit tree. In same way, in the concept of consistency, it's important to keep generating leads, keep generating qualified leads, keep generating prospects. But within the size of my universe, if my selling sector is banks, I should not sell to insurance companies. Yeah. Within the banks, I might have a cooperative bank, I might have a scheduled bank, I might have a cooperative society, which is into banking. I might have a public sector bank, I might have an international bank, I might have a private sector bank, and all of that. Maybe the private sector bank is my fruit-bearing tree, but I need to also get the credit cooperative societies and so on and so forth, because you never know when a credit cooperative society or a scheduled bank or a cooperative bank is going to be acquired by somebody else. And because my software is there, or my hardware is there, or my service is there, bingo, an HDFC takes over Suresh Bank, and suddenly I get a chance of serving HDFC Bank, right? So in that context, consistency comes by following the practice of focusing on quantity over, and automatically quality will follow, consistency will follow. So having the orchard mindset, which is amply covered in our ESP program, is what will get consistency and repeatability in sales profitability.
Thank you. Thank you. I had a similar question, which Jenny has asked on the group. Jenny has asked, how do you ensure alignment between sales, marketing, and other departments in supporting strategic accounts? I had a similar question in mind. Does a company need to make any changes in its operating structure or in the way it functions to be able to do strategic account management? Or can this be integrated with what a company is currently doing? This question was asked by Jenny, Suresh.
Thank you, Jenny, for that specific question. And to add to what you asked and what Vipul also expressed and explained in detail, I want to think about this aspect that everything that happens in an organization today, and that is indeed so, happens with a sales mindset. Yeah. If I am, there's a large hospital, does not have a sales mindset, chances are they will run, they'll go under, right? For example, there has to be a sales mindset of selling more, adding more prospects. A sales mindset doesn't mean only profitability and money. It means selling more. It means getting and acquiring different kinds of prospects and clients and keeping that funnel active. So in that context of speaking about accountability happening, what is the point which Jenny said, Vipul, the specific? You're muted.
Sorry. Jenny wants to know, how do you ensure alignment between sales,
right.
marketing, and other functions in
right.
supporting strategic account management?
Right. So in a large account, any function, why not only sales? Why only marketing? Why only sales, service? Even operations and finance have to be integrated to having a sales pivot or a sales point of view. Now, if you look at sales flow, it means that there is inside sales, which is lead generation and prospect generation. There is pre-sales, which is informing about my product and service advantages and benefits. And then there is sales support, which gives information about what we can offer. Marketing comes in here. So when marketing is done, whether it is separately from a salesperson or otherwise, is always ingrained to the sales process. So when I go to a large account, when my company sells into a large account, my marketing material provides the impetus for pre-sales and sales support. It is not considered to be different. That's why there is a product manager in organizations which handles a particular product, which integrates sales and marketing functions. A marketing manager would want to implement things in a particular manner, but the product manager integrates marketing and sales. So having said that, these are all not disconnected functions. A marketing manager can play the role of a product manager. A sales manager can play the role of a product manager, but integration points are always there. There has to be independence and integration both. If it is independence is not there, then more often than not, the sales mindset will hijack marketing, will hijack after sales. Sales guy will say, I'm going to give you 90 days of warranty where only 40 days needs to be given in my quest to get a larger deal. But in the interest, my bottom line will suffer. So it's important to have independent functions happening, but a bit of integration at certain points, form concentric standpoints, and that makes for much selling. Coming to after sales, I can never ever undermine the importance of the service guy or the after sales service person in the overall success of a strategic account management plan. At the end of the day, a company, a buyer would actually believe an after sales service person more than a salesperson. An after sales service person is such a wonderful sales pivot, sales instrument, sales ambassador, one can never undermine. In fact, a good sales guy, a smart sales guy would empower an after sales salesperson to make sure that there is repeatability and orders keep coming in, because the relationship between the after sales service guy and the customer is so very sacrosanct. It's technology based, technical based. It is based on instances, based on tickets, based on things going right, up times, and all of that. That relationship can really be leveraged very well. I think companies should use after sales service guys. If a lot of large companies use the after sales service guys as their champion for strategic account management and for key account management and for major account management.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Suresh. We are running a little out of time, so I'll have a couple of questions on another topic which is related, and that is the topic of this community, which is business networking. So I have a few questions on business networking for you, Suresh. You've been successfully running this business for many, many years now. I won't name the number of years. And I know for a fact that you're a black belt in business networking. Can you tell us how business networking has worked for you and, for your business of providing sales, increasing sales profitably? How has business networking contributed?
So business networking, I used to always think that being an extrovert and speaking that extra word and extra line and being in a conversation that extra mile was the definition of a good networker. But it has taught me, life has taught me, business networking has taught me, at the end of the day, whether it's business networking or not, the smile in the face and the connect of the eyes is paramount. The moment I have a smile and a twinkle in the eyes on both sides, and the shake hand happens warmly, whether it's man, woman, 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 man, man, whatever it might be, 60% of the job is done. The other important point is to always be a giver, because of being ingrained in a philosophy of BNI for the last 12 years. Instrumentally, I think I had the giving mindset even before, but I was not knowing it as a philosophy. But now it is known, asking the other, what is it that I can do for you in my own little way? What is it that I can reach out to you for? Not as a matter of condescending, but as a matter of enabling each other. Ultimately, as a community, we all enable each other. These two things, I realized, is the key thing of connecting from a non-verbal and a verbal manner. Non-verbal smile and that handshake and that warmth which exudes, of being connected with other human being at that moment, at that present moment, is important. And from a verbal point of view, asking what is it that I can connect you with in my own little domain. This verbal, non-verbal jugalbandi has made sure that whether I'm an extrovert or an introvert doesn't matter. I will get the universe and the other audience to come to me and say, what do you do? What is your business model? What is that you're trying to, what is your organization do? And when I get that kind of attention, automatically I attract business opportunities. I don't have to go out and seek, it gets attracted automatically. So business networking using this jugalbandi has helped me to attract business opportunities, both online and offline. And that has converted into continuous strategically managed accounting practices, not accounting as in numbers and rupees and dollars, but strategically accounting in terms of sales, and has given me repeated business for my company, which in fact is called ValueAdditions Sales and Marketing Private Limited.
Okay, Suresh, I have a linked question to this. At the introduction of the interaction, I had mentioned that you are in a leadership role in BNI One Mumbai as the area director of one of the regions, which to my mind is almost a full-time role. How has taking up that role also helped you in your own business?
One thing that happened is that role is very overwhelming in terms of being humbling. The responsibility that so many entrepreneurs come in there wanting to make their lives transformed because of business. Because today, all said and done, there are less job seekers than there are more enterprise seekers. Maybe because there is less jobs out there, or maybe because there is this kida of enterprise is there bugged all of us. Maybe that virus has spread, but all for the good cause. Now, once it happens, and there is one element of the knowledge that I've gained in a structured platform like BNI, which is the world's largest networking organization, which in a way changes the way the world does business. In that context, if I'm not able to share rightly to the right kind of messaging to the various co-members, then I feel I cannot sleep well at night. So that to that extent, it's overwhelming and also demanding. But on the other side, what's happened is the structure of networking in a focused, crisp manner, wherein you're connected at the same time, you're not fully dissolved in that relationship, because there are so many different connections that you keep making and you have to pass it on. Passing the ball and not trying to hit the goal yourself has been a major advantage that I've learned from the BNI platform of networking effectively, crisply, and effectively, which means that a particular referral, a particular connection, a particular lead can be articulated quickly by doing what is called, in my opinion, the who to whom thinking, the relationship referrals thinking that enables somebody to get to their target segment, to their strategic account, to their customer, to their client in a manner wherein the door openers or the door enablers are other intermediaries.
Right.
Which means for me to open up a Rang Sharda for an architect, I might have a gatekeeper who is probably the housekeeping services person who is servicing Rang Sharda. Earlier,
Right.
I used to make sure that I opened the door myself. Now I
Right.
don't do that. I connect to a housekeeping service member who is offering
Who-
services to Rang Sharda. He or she can become the conduit or the intermediary. So that matrix kind of thinking of opening up intermediaries is something which has really enabled business networking to function effectively while serving the purpose of getting visibility for me, credibility for me, and helping me sleep well at night. That there is one more entrepreneur who got a gate open, because one of these gates or doors that opens might be the freedom gateway for the entrepreneur. One big deal or one big opportunity or one big collaboration might be the one which is why he or she became an entrepreneur, to get that
Right.
freedom.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Suresh.
Thanks, Vipul.
I think we are almost at the closing end of the meeting. So what I would request you to do, Suresh, is help us with your contact numbers so that all those who have come onto the community and had a lot of questions but may not have had the opportunity, because I couldn't read all the questions which have come. My apologies for not being able to read all the questions. I only read the ones which were kind of relevant and in that flow. But if you have any more questions for Suresh, I'm dropping the contact numbers. Suresh, if you can please mention your email ID and your mobile number. I'll also share it on the community, but
Sure.
and also your LinkedIn address so people can get in touch with you directly and
Sure.
seek their guidance from you.
Sure. Thank you, Vipul. You can always post it. Suresh Menon VA, VA as in ValueAdditions. Suresh Menon VA at gmail.com is the email ID. And +91, that's the India code, 98201 38081 is the phone number where I can be reached on WhatsApp or on call. And my LinkedIn ID, I've sent it to you, Vipul. You can put across as Suresh Menon on the LinkedIn.
That's right. I've already posted it.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so much,
very much,
Vipul.
Suresh. Thank you very much for being there and for sparing your time for this inaugural podcast on business networking on Thinkly. Thank you very much. And I look forward to interacting with you again very soon on another topic. Until then, thank you very much.
Congratulations, Vipul, on your wonderful first inaugural session. It's an amazing cause of making sure the business networking is available to so many self-starters and entrepreneurs. Kudos to you, Vipul. Kudos to Thinkly. Thank you.
Thank you.